Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play this video and talk about things that are going on. I better explain what's going on and talk about things that I think that are being done right and or done wrong. Without further ado, here we go.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Assistant Sheriff Andrew Walsh, and I'm here to brief you on the additional details as we know them today about the officer-involved shooting that occurred on Thursday, August 11th, 2022. This is officer-involved shooting number 7 for this year, and it's the third non-fatal officer-involved shooting we've had so far in 2022. At the same time last year, we had 5 officer-involved shootings, and 3 of those being non-fatal. This event was initiated as a follow-up investigation on August 11th at 5:01 p.m. And before I get into the details of the officer-involved shooting, I wanted to give you some backdrop to the history of the follow-up investigation. On May 20th of this year, officers responded to a violent carjacking that occurred in the area of North Los Feliz Street and Stewart Avenue. During this robbery, a white male adult stole a vehicle at gunpoint from a 73-year-old female victim. Officers then identified the suspect, and on the day of the officer-involved shooting, they were conducting covert surveillance at his last known address. And there were 2 separate locations where officers discharged their weapon during this officer-involved shooting. The first officer-involved shooting occurred in the area of 5th Street and Craig Road, which is located in North Las Vegas. The second officer-involved shooting location occurred at the 4800 block of West Desert Inn Road in Las Vegas, which is in the Spring Valley Area Command. There were 5 officers that were involved in this officer-involved shooting. The first officer is Officer Brendan Burbrink. He is 36 years old and has been with the LVMPD since 2015. In this incident, Officer Burbrink was armed with a Smith & Wesson M&P 9mm, equipped with a tactical light, and the investigation revealed that he fired 8 rounds. The second officer involved is Officer Christian Maharo. He is 27 years old and has been with the LVMPD since 2021. In this incident, Officer Maharo was armed with a Glock 17 9mm, equipped with a tactical light, and the investigation revealed that he fired 4 rounds. The third officer involved in this incident is Officer Alondra Montero. She is 24 years old and has been with the LVMPD since 2021. In this incident, Officer Montero was armed with a Glock 17 9mm, equipped with a tactical light, and the investigation revealed that she fired 8 rounds. The fourth officer is Officer Amanda Montalto. She is 31 years old and has been with the LVMPD since 2017. In this incident, Officer Montalto was armed with a Glock 19 9mm, equipped with a tactical light, and the investigation revealed that she fired 11 rounds during this incident. And the fifth officer involved in this incident is Officer Mark Sayas. Officer Sayas is 35 years old and has been with the LVMPD since 2019. This investigation revealed that Officer Sayas fired 6 rounds during this incident. And all the officers I just named are assigned to the Community Policing Division, and they all work at the Northeast Area Command. In this incident, the suspect was identified as Justin Lee Venegas. Justin is a 40-year-old white male adult. He's approximately 5'5" and weighs about 170 pounds, and he's pictured on the screen to my left.
So this dude violently carjacked a 70-something-year-old woman. What a fucking douchebag. This pussy motherfucker. Ugh. So, if I remember correctly, he said that there's 2 different locations for the shooting that occurred, and of that, one officer fired 8 rounds, another fired 4, another fired 8, one fired 11, one fired 6. That's a lot. And this is a non-fatal shooting. No one died from this. That's a lot of fucking rounds to be fired.
And the investigation revealed that during this incident, Venegas was armed with a Smith & Wesson M&P 9mm pistol, and he also used a stolen white Chevy Avalanche as a weapon when he intentionally rammed one of our canine vehicles.
So that poor old woman no longer has a car.
And the investigation revealed that during this incident, Venegas fired a total of 4 rounds. Now, Venegas faces several charges stemming from the officer-involved shooting. I'll read those off to you now. Venegas has been charged with three counts of attempted murder with a deadly weapon on a protected person, 1 count of battery with a deadly weapon on a protected person, 1 count of attempted murder with a deadly weapon, 1 count of attempted robbery, 1 count of discharging a firearm at a moving vehicle, 1 count of robbery with deadly weapon, and 1 count of felony evading. Now, stemming back to the May incident, Venegas has been charged with robbery with a deadly weapon with a victim over 60, 2 counts of assault with a deadly weapon with a victim over 60, 2 counts of assault with a deadly weapon, and grand larceny auto. Now, I'll give you the details for the officer-involved shooting. On August 11th, 2022, plainclothes officers were conducting a follow-up investigation at Justin Venegas' last known address in the northeast part of the valley. Officers saw Venegas enter a vehicle and drive out of the area. The air unit was requested to assist in following Venegas as he left the area and drove away. While following Venegas, the air unit saw him get out of his vehicle and point a firearm at the driver of a white Chevy Avalanche in the area of North Pecos Road and Cheyenne Avenue. And then Venegas, while the air unit was watching, proceeded to carjack that vehicle and drive away in the Chevy Avalanche. After the violent robbery at approximately 7:13 p.m., patrol officers tried to pull Venegas over. The vehicle pursuit was initiated, and Venegas failed to stop for the marked patrol officers. An unmarked LVMPD vehicle became part of the pursuit, and that vehicle was equipped with police lights and sirens and was behind Venegas during this vehicle pursuit. Venegas suddenly came to an abrupt stop, causing the unmarked police vehicle to crash into the back of the stolen vehicle. The collision disabled the police vehicle, and the officer was subsequently transported to the hospital for minor injuries. Marked patrol units continued to pursue Venegas and attempted a pit maneuver in the area of Craig Road and North 5th Street. And as you know from previous incidents and previous press briefings, PIT stands for the Precision Intervention Technique and is defined as a specific manner of intentional contact using a police vehicle against a fleeing vehicle during a pursuit to cause the fleeing vehicle to come to an abrupt stop, rendering it immobile. Venegas avoided the pit by shooting at officers 2 times with his firearm and striking the windshield of the patrol vehicle. Officer Brendan Burbrink, who was a passenger in the patrol vehicle, fired 5 rounds from his duty weapon through the windshield. Officer Burbrink's rounds impacted the rear of the stolen vehicle, however, Venegas was not struck. After the shooting, Venegas continued to evade officers in the stolen vehicle. Throughout the pursuit, Venegas drove through red lights and displayed reckless behavior as he drove around congested areas of traffic, and at times his speeds would reach in excess of 100 miles per hour. As Venegas approached the intersection of Desert Inn Road and Jones Boulevard, he forced a female motorist to a stop. He attempted to steal her vehicle by jumping out of the white Chevy Avalanche and ran towards her with a gun in his hand, attempting to get her out of her vehicle. The driver of this vehicle was able to put her vehicle in reverse, and as she backed away, Vegas fired upon her. Thankfully, this victim of this attempted robbery wasn't seriously injured or hurt by the gunfire, and she was treated at the scene by medical personnel and released. Venegas then ran back to the original stolen Chevy Avalanche and fled eastbound on Desert Inn as police officers in marked vehicles attempted to catch up with him. A short time later, Venegas drove into a busy grocery store shopping center located at the 4800 block of West Desert Inn Road. Again, Venegas attempted to carjack another vehicle with his gun in the parking lot, but was unsuccessful. He got back into the stolen Chevy Avalanche as officers were arriving in the parking lot, and he started to drive towards the officers who had exited their patrol vehicles and were telling him to stop the car. Venegas ignored those commands and continued to drive toward the officers. As a result of Venegas' actions, officers Brendan Burbrink, Christian Maharo, Alondro Montero, Amanda Montalto, and Mark Sayas opened fire on Venegas. Venegas was not shot, but the Avalanche was struck multiple times. Still, Venegas continued to drive northbound on Decatur Boulevard at a high rate of speed until he spotted a stopped canine unit in the area of Decatur and Fair Center. Venegas crossed several lanes of traffic, and in a deliberate attempt to injure or kill our canine officer, he crashed into him head-on, and this violent impact caused both vehicles to become disabled. The subsequent investigation revealed that at the time of impact, Venegas was traveling at 67 miles per hour. Arriving officers were able to take Venegas into custody without further incident, and the canine officer was transported to the hospital by arriving units. He has since been released and is home recovering from his injuries. The patrol dog, Canine Boris, fortunately was not injured during this incident, but he was taken to be evaluated and cleared by veterinary personnel. Venegas was also transported to UMC Trauma for his injuries, and he has since been released from the hospital and booked into the Clark County Detention Center. Now we have a bunch of video to play for you. Some of it is from the air unit, and some of it is from body-worn camera, and we have some video that was actually captured by a citizen that caught the actual collision between Venegas and our canine officer. So this is the original carjacking near Cheyenne and Pecos. Venegas is in the gray car to the right, and that's the white Chevy Avalanche I described.
If we can send a unit over to 562 North Rockville Lane.
Copy, we're already on scene, sir.
Okay, he's stepping out of the vehicle. He's talking to the... he's trying to jack a car.
DC-4.
Air 2, I need some units at Pecos and Cheyenne. I've got a suspect that's trying to do a 407 carjacking right now. People doing it. The guy's...
Copy.
He's in the car. He's trying to force the driver out.
So he had been under surveillance, but it doesn't appear as though there's any units near him, as far as land units. So I don't know if he had spotted the surveillance vehicles and got spooked and then decided that he was going to carjack another vehicle while they were not in sight and then take off in this different vehicle, or if he just at random, this was the day that he decided he was going to carjack another car, and just so happened he did not know that he was being watched and the whole thing's now being recorded. One of those two went on. I just don't know which one.
Cheyenne and Pecos.
George 2, I'm not leaving like me.
It's going to be a white Chevy Avalanche. He just forced the driver out. I got one unit on my pursuit. We are west on Craig, and the vehicle's slowing down. It looks like he's firing out of the vehicle. He's firing out of the vehicle at our unit.
809 units, back off. Okay, let's give up some space. Let's let the air unit take this. He's firing around.
Go. You got it. Try to stay off to the side here. Hit him. Right here. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. You all right? Good. You okay? Good.
Now this is the second attempted carjacking, or the attempted carjacking that occurred near Desert Inn in Jones.
Air 2, there was a silver SUV that he...
So we'll back this up.
Hit him, right here. Hit him, right here. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. Hit him. Hit him, right here. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. Hit him. Hit him, right here. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck.
So I can't tell exactly where that round hit on the windshield, but pretty damn close.
Fuck.
All right, so he decides to draw his gun and fire through the windshield. Now, this is an option. It's not the best option, but it is an option. Windshields are a design of laminate glass, and that material causes deflection. So when that round goes to that windshield, it's not going to be on the same straight path that it was on before it hit that windshield. It's going to hit that windshield, and then it's going to go off course to some degree. It may go to the left, it may go to the right, it may go up, it may go down. It's going to go off to some degree. The closer the target is to the windshield, that shift, that variation is noticeable. It's smaller, but it's still noticeable. The further that target is out, is way more noticeable. Like you're not even going to be hitting the target. When you fire one round through the windshield, it deflects, and you try to hit a target several yards away. It's just most likely not going to hit. So it's more effective when the target is super close to you, to the bumper or a few feet in front of it. Beyond that, it throws it off a lot. So the key to being successful with shooting through the windshield is you create a hole in the windshield and you try to put all your other rounds through that same hole. That way, that hole has been created and the rounds that follow behind it are not touching anything. Therefore, those rounds are not being caused to go off course. They're going to be going as straight as they were when they came out of the gun.
You alright? Good. You okay? Good.
Shooting inside a car, it's loud. And now that I've paused this, it looks like up here is where the suspect's round hit, high into the windshield right here. But shooting inside a car, it is fucking loud. It really is. If you've never shot a gun in an enclosed space like that, it's... I mean, I don't know any other way on how to explain it other than it's fucking loud, and you feel it. Like, you feel the concussion off that gun because all the stuff's being reverberated, like back to you. Another thing you need to think about when shooting through the windshield is the particulate matter, the glass particles that's going to be created from this, and how that's going to have an effect on your eyes. So sunglasses or just regular glasses are not the most optimal thing to protect your eyes against when it comes to glass particles floating around in the air. The glass particles can go in behind your sunglasses and get into your eyes. So you may need to think about and consider closing one eye when you fire. That way, when you fire your gun and you cause a bunch of glass dust to be created, and now wind and air is coming through these holes and blowing it all around, if one eye gets affected, then your other eye that is closed, hopefully the dust will somewhat settle down and dissipate in time so that you can open that other eye and be able to have it ready for the fight if the other one has now become impacted by glass particles. Of course, the best eye protection would be the full wraparound kind of glasses, the ones that kind of make a seal around your eye. But those are not very common kind of glasses to be worn by people. Just your standard regular sunglasses is what people often wear. And those are not going to help protect against glass dust. The full wraparounds will. There are some products out there that are full wraparound sunglasses. They can be used, but like I said, they're not very popular. They're most often used by motorcycle riders. And then, of course, when you start getting into this tactical realm, they're more used by more specialized kind of teams. But it is an option, I think, that should be looked at for patrol, especially if an agency is going to be buying glasses for people. I think that they should be getting them the full wraparound style. That way, the eyes can be fully protected. Not just for instances like this, but for other instances where particulate matter could be getting into the air and then coming in behind the glass. Especially casings, firearms training. There's been lots of times where people been, they wear their safety glasses, they be shooting, and the fucking brass comes in from the top and goes in between their eye and the safety glass, and then it gets stuck there. So that's another good reason why, if agencies are buying protective eyewear, they should be looking at the full wraparounds that kind of encapsulate the eye itself and has like a little skirt around it. Those are the best ones for quote-unquote tactical purposes.
Now, this is the second attempted carjacking, or the attempted carjacking that occurred near Desert Inn in Jones.
There was a silver SUV that he hit. He's slowing down now on Desert Inn, forcing a car off. He might be trying to hijack someone else. Yep, he's out of his vehicle. His car's running. He's got a gun pointed out at the victim here. He's firing into the victim vehicle. We have to get him stopped.
Come on. And deadly force, we need to stop this threat. They're still threatening citizens.
And this is as he pulls into the Smith's parking lot.
All right, looks like he's pulling into the Smith's parking lot, possibly to carjack somebody else. He's forcing somebody into the parking lot and is into the Smith's parking lot. All right, stop for another vehicle.
He's got a gun.
He's going to, he's going to work his way around that vehicle that's continuing through those Smith's parking lot.
Everyone get inside the store. Get in.
If somebody has the opportunity to use their vehicle, use your vehicle to take them out if you have to.
All right, units. He's parking now in the, if you see where the camper trailer is in the parking lot, he's directly right to the south side of that. Out of the vehicle, running through the complex. His vehicle's moving. Get in here, guys. Minivan. Get right in front of that minivan. He's pounding on the window trying to get in.
Get on the car.
All right, get that car blocked in. He's going to get back in it. Get all the way up to the block in if you can. He is shot at civilians, so if we can get that thing blocked in, get it done. All right, control Air 5. Officers we have shots fired again. Shots fired at the vehicle. Watch out for your crossfire, guys. Watch out for your crossfire. Got active traffic there just west of you. No more fires. He's out onto Decatur.
Tell those units to keep going.
So if you see where the camper trailer is in the parking lot, he's directly right to the south side of that other vehicle, running through the complex. The vehicle's moving. Get in here, guys. Minivan. Get right in front of that minivan. He's standing out on the window trying to get in. Get that car block in. He's going to get back in it. Get all the way up to the block in if you can. He is shot at civilians. So we get that thing blocked in. Get it done. Control Air 5. Officers. Air shot. Active traffic there. Just west of you. No more fire.
And this is the vehicle, the video of the K9 collision. The first video will be from the air unit.
Major intersection. We've got very light traffic between here and Charleston.
Picks up by the freeway.
Field description again, please.
He does major 401 with our patrol vehicle. Roll 2 medicals for me, please. Major 401 with our patrol vehicle.
444, head on over K9 officer.
And this is the citizen footage from a dash cam, is the best way to describe it, that captures the collision with the K9 officer.
And he takes some of these hoses from the pedestal and connects them to those panels in your wrist, and steps out and shuts the chamber. You see him turn a dial, and then all of a sudden this chamber is like sprayed by all of these different nozzles all around the chamber. And actually
And the last piece of footage we have, this is the K9 officer's body-worn camera footage.
Into that vehicle.
Aircraft. Advise Bolden. He's going back into Bolden. We are in Bolden. Aircraft, we're continuing turn opening now. Charleston's going to be our next major intersection. We've got very light traffic between here and Charleston.
Video description again, please.
Oh, fuck. Forrest, you okay? Forrest!
Oh,
And that's concludes
checking on his dog.
this briefing. Any questions? Yes, sir. I guess my initial impression here, you've got officers who are continuing to pursue the suspect. Well,
All right, so it looks like it's going to go into the Q&A part of the press release. Back this up. Go back to the parking lot. So I don't know if other officers did not have their body cameras activated during this phase, and they just don't have it to include. Or
Air 5, officers.
But
We have shots fired again.
this is also where multiple other officers are firing. Now, we see body camera from this one fire. It's possible these two have fired as well. I'm not 100% sure about that. It's also conceivable that some of these over here fired as well. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 5 officers right here. So there was 5 officers total that ended up firing. So I don't know exactly at what point these officers fired. The suspect vehicle could have been further back here when this guy initially fired, or they could have fired right in here. I'm not really sure. It's not very clear. But that does bring up a concern that the helicopter pilot had mentioned, or the co-pilot, whoever. Watch your crossfire, because this is a matter of potential crossfire. They're pointing guns at this guy, and they're pointing guns at this guy. Well, if this person's rounds goes through the windows of this vehicle, he could potentially be hitting this officer over here. So that's a big concern with 360 environments like this, where the target is moving and then is now coming in between friendly forces. So, and it's hard to always have it lined up perfectly where everyone's going to be on the same side and whatnot. But, if there's a way that you could try to maximize the chances that you're going to be on the same side as your team, then do that and avoid as much as possible any type of crossfire kind of scenarios, because it's bad enough when we lose officers. It's really bad when officers are lost by the hands of other officers. It's a very huge demoralizing thing for the officers involved, for that agency, and it can really cause the public to lose some confidence in their agency. When the citizens of a town see that cops have killed their own by accident, it doesn't really leave a very confident feeling in them. So if you can avoid the crossfire as much as possible, do so, but it happens. If it looks like, in this kind of scenario where it looks like you could be involved in a kind of a crossfire kind of thing, you're around vehicles, remember the best points of cover for your vehicle. Around the engine block area is number 1 to be at, and then at the wheel wells. Take cover in behind those and hunker down.
Shots fired at the vehicle. Watch out for your crossfire, guys. Watch out for your crossfire. Got active traffic there just west of you. No more fires. He is out onto Decatur.
Tell those units to keep going.
You see where the camper trailer is in the parking lot? Yep.
So this looks like the guys who were at the beginning of the pursuit, and they had the fire through the windshield.
Yeah, right to the...
you see their windshields all fucked up.
Through the complex. If you ever move it, get in here, guys. Get in there. You know what?
So they're trying to figure out where the hell this guy's at in a big-ass parking lot. You can tell they're looking around. They're kind of confused. They don't know exactly where he's at. Of course, at nighttime, helicopters have, most of them have spotlights on them. They can shine lights down. So I think that could have been something, if the helicopter was equipped with it, I think that's something the helicopter could have done, was shine the spotlight down on exactly where the suspect vehicle was. And that would help clue them in a little bit more to where this person could be. I don't know if anything like it exists for aerial platforms. I don't really have any experience with aerial platforms in a law enforcement capacity. But what would be really neat would be something like a laser that the pilot or co-pilot could activate to shine down on the target, like a green laser that would help key people in on where to go. Now, of course, there are infrared lasers on some aerial platforms, and those are utilized for targeting purposes or whatever, but you only see them with night vision. Obviously, daytime, no one's going to be using night vision or anything like that. So a visible laser would be something that would be required. That would be nice if a product like that existed, where they could just shine a laser beam down. But there could be some complications with that as well, as far as the power of the laser, and there being potential eye injuries and stuff like that. But I think that with the technology the way it is, I think that's very possible to have a visible laser affixed to an aerial platform like that could be used to mark targets, because that is a great way for people to be clued in on exactly where to go. I'll skip that one. Notice that he's got his gun up and ready for the fight. So that can be a good thing or a bad thing to do. What I've seen in some videos is people have the gun in their hand, and then they'll use that same hand to actuate the gear selector. They'll like trying to hold that gun in their hand and reach up to the column and throw the car in park, or throw it down and drive, reverse, whatever. I don't think that's the greatest option. If you're going to train for something like this, then you need to utilize your non-dominant hand as much as possible. Reach across with the non-dominant hand to throw that car into park or reverse or drive, and keep your hand that's holding the gun reserved for just manipulating that gun, not trying to manipulate anything else, because when you do, that increases the chances of you having a negligent discharge with that gun in your hand. In this kind of scenario, we know where they're going to be coming to a stop. Two options right here. One, he can reach over with his non-dominant hand and throw the car into park, or he can take his left foot and smash the emergency brake pedal down, and the car will go in park at that point. Of course, the gear will still be in drive, but the emergency brakes will be applied, and it's not going to go anywhere. So those are two options to be able to do, but you don't ever want to use your hand that's holding the gun to try and do other things with, because that just increases the risk of NDs.
Get back in it. Get all the way up to the block in if you can. You shot civilian, so just get that thing blocked in.
At this point, as far as I'm concerned, they know that's a suspect vehicle. They're green light to fucking start shooting. This dude has already shot at them. He shot at a person, a regular citizen, trying to carjack them. He is a clear and present danger to society. He is a deadly physical threat. He's an active threat. This is no different than an active shooter. Action needs to be taken to stop this guy. So right there in this instant, force is necessary. There is no fucking de-escalating this situation. This dude had the opportunity to stop what he was doing a long time ago. He's not stopping. You have to make him stop. So pointing guns at him and yelling at him is not going to work any more than the 15 fucking police cars that was behind him with all the lights and siren turned on. Like, he didn't give a shit about that. He's not going to give a fucking shit about you all being parked in front of him. This is where I think that trying to use verbal commands and de-escalate in situations where it's not needed is a safety concern. There's times where, yes, you can use verbal commands to try and gain compliance, and then there's times where you're just wasting your fucking time and you're making it more dangerous for you and everyone else. There's times where it is time to act. Time is of essence, and you need to do something now, because if you don't do something, bad shit's going to happen. The longer you wait to do something, the more time you're giving someone to make their plans and put their plans into action to fuck you up or fuck other people up. Yeah, so based off the sound, he was right in there. Yeah, this was a crossfire kind of issue. So no telling where those rounds had went. I know that they said that a lot of them went into the car, but they didn't specifically say how many rounds went into the vehicle. They did talk about how many rounds the officers fired, and I think it ended up being like 37 rounds or something like that fired. I don't know if all 37 rounds went into that vehicle or not. I would say that probably some completely missed and went elsewhere.
And this is the vehicle, the video of the K9 collision. The first video will be from the air unit.
Major intersection. We've got very light traffic between here and Charleston.
Picks up by the freeway.
Field description again, please.
He does major 401 with our patrol vehicle. Roll 2 medicals for me, please. Major 401 with our patrol vehicle.
444, hello, over K9 officer.
And this is the citizen footage from a dash cam, is the best way to describe it, that captures the collision with the K9 officer.
And he takes some of these hoses from the pedestal and connects them to those panels in your wrist, and steps out and shuts the chamber. You see him turn a dial, and then all of a sudden, this chamber is like sprayed by all of these different nozzles all around the chamber. And actually,
And the last piece of footage we have, this is the K9 officer's body-worn camera footage.
Into that vehicle. Verify. Advise Bolden, he's going back into Bolden. We are in Bolden. Verify, we're continuing turn opening now. Charleston's going to be our next major intersection. We've got very light traffic between here and Charleston. Field description again, please.
Oh, fuck. Forrest, you okay? Forrest!
And that concludes this briefing. Any questions? Yes, sir.
I guess my initial impression here, you've got officers who are continuing to pursue the suspect, bullet holes in their windshield. Of course, the canine officer goes the opposite lane of traffic, eventually ends this pursuit. I guess just comment on the bravery involved in here.
Well, I think the videos are a great way for you all to see what our officers do every day and the kind of things that they're confronted with on a daily basis. There's this type of evil that exists out there, and you know, bravery is one way to put it. You know, it's you know, they suit up every day and go out there, and this is what they deal with. There's no other way to put it. Good, Denise.
Like a couple of the cars had 2 people. So, or a few of these trainings.
Yeah.
And if so, you know, did they do exactly what they were trained to do?
Yeah, we had 2 officers that were in field training that were driving vehicles in this incident. You could see from, you know, some of the footage that, you know, they're taking direction from their field training officers on what to do. But this does speak to the training that they go through in the police academy and taking stuff that they learn in a very static environment and apply it to this dynamic world that's out there when they get out into field training.
And as far as the pursuit goes, I know a lot of times you just choose not to pursue. Is this one of those rare cases where you need it?
Yeah, well, you know, the cornerstone of our pursuit policy is obviously to have supervisory involvement. And from the very beginning, that's what we had on this. And the fact that we're dealing with a very violent person from the crime that occurred back in May, the decision to authorize the pursuit was a sound decision based on the crimes. And then when you see the footage of that bullet going through the windshield of the police vehicle, you watch the footage of him shooting at a citizen who's just driving down the street, and that could be any one of us, right? At any given time, driving down the street and guy pulls in front of you and jumps out with a gun and starts shooting at you to take your car. So yeah, it's one of those rare occasions where you will see a pursuit that goes as long and as far as this one did, but definitely appropriate under the circumstances in our mission to protect the community. Yes, sir.
I mean, a little bit about the dynamic of communication plays in this, because I found it very interesting from the air unit saying back off, shots have been fired at an officer. Tell me how communication plays in.
It's a great thing to have, the air unit that we have, and in this incident, the pilots and the operators there in that ship did a great job of, being in charge of the radio and communicating information to officers and articulating what they see to help officers on the ground make decisions. So, we're really advanced when it comes to the technology that the air unit has. So that is key in this incident. And, he was driving at such high rates of speeds that, without the air unit, we clearly would have lost him, and this violent felon would have still been out in the community. So, but the air unit being able to control the radio and give that direction to officers and keep them updated is key. Definitely to our ability to stay with him on this event. Yes, sir.
How long had this guy been under surveillance?
A couple hours. They had done surveillance the day before at that location, came up with nothing, went back at it the second day, and they'd been there not too long, a couple hours at most when he came out. We'll look at everything from what went into the surveillance and the planning for all of that in part of our critical incident review process. But, at 72 hours into it, it looks like the people that planned that operation and did everything appropriately within our policy to get him into custody.
Can you describe the officer's injury?
So the officers that were shot at, just a little bit of broken glass from the first incident, they're fine. They did not require any type of medical treatment. But the officer in the canine vehicle, he has a little bit of a road in front of him. A little bit of some bruising, some swelling, a concussion. The doctors say mild concussion. I don't know how you can tell the difference, to be honest with you, but he's banged up pretty good. You get hit head on by someone trying to kill you at 67 miles an hour. We're very fortunate that we're not burying that officer or the officers that were shot at, and we're not, and the citizen, she has an injury to her arm that, it could be a graze wound, it could be from the glass, it could be a variety of things. So, but I appreciate you asking about our officer, because when you watch the violence that's associated with that collision and you see that video, especially from the ground level, we're lucky. This community was very lucky in this incident.
I found it striking when he said, "Boris, are you okay?" He was calling out for the dog.
Yeah, the relationship between a canine operator and a handler and his dog, that's been well documented in this community over the years. That is a very special relationship, and hopefully our officer recovers very quickly and can be reunited with his dog soon.
The shots that were fired in the parking lot area, were there any stray bullets that went around?
No, we're having we know the number of rounds. I just don't know off the top of my head that struck the Avalanche, and you could see from the damage to the front of the Chevy Avalanche that it's going to take some time for us to really get that apart and find all the other rounds that were fired. But no, we're no stray rounds to any of the buildings or anything that was surrounding the area during this incident. So, all right, thank you all very much.
All right, nothing else to say about this video. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense, thank you for watching.